the great Pakistani poet Faiz Ahmad Faiz, I think it is particularly important for us to know that Pakistan is not just a country that has produced dictators and fanatics. It's actually a part of the world that has very rich cultural legacy. And Urdu is particularly a language that is rich both in terms of its structure and has a long poetic tradition. It is also a language that is almost the archetypical language of love. And you'll know what I mean when you hear her read this poem. And then I tried to actually find somebody from Pakistan, but I failed because we didn't have enough time. So I will actually read the Urdu version. And in fact, the Urdu version has been set to music by a very famous musician in Pakistan. So I will try to sing it for you.
My first love. Please don't ask me, my love, to love you as I once did. Then I believed that you gave my life true luster. The pain of this world lost its meaning. Only you could make me suffer. Your beauty brought forth the spring, gave it its abiding green. Your eyes were all that mattered. If I could only have you, even fate would have been negated. My desire would be my will, my reality. But countless centuries of suffering, men in corrupt comfort, not caring, covered in silken splendor, and others selling their lives in the marketplace, covered in dust, bathed in their own blood. What can I do, my love? What shall I do when my eyes see not just you, but this other world too? Your beauty still delights my soul, but what can I do? In our world today, there is sorrow deeper than romance. There is a way of love beyond this love, my love. Please don't ask me, my love, to love you as I once did.
Thank you. I should explain that the form of this particular poem is called ghazal, which is a set of couplets that are not necessarily always related. And it is a lyric poem which is meant to be sung. So I will just do it for you now. मुझसे पहली सी मुहाबत मेरे महबूब न मांग, मुझसे पहली सी मुहाबत मेरे महबूब न मांग, मुझसे पहली सी मुहाबत मेरे महबूब न मांग, मुझसे पहली सी मुहाबत मेरे महबूब न मांग। मैंने समझा था कि तू है तो दरख्शां है हयात, तेरा गम है तो गमे दहर का झगड़ा क्या है, तेरी सूरत से है आलम में बहारों का सबात, तेरी आँखों के सिवा दुनिया में रखा क्या है, तेरी आँखों के सिवा दुनिया में रखा क्या है। तू जो मिल जाए तो तकदीर निगूं हो जाए, यूं ना था मैंने फकत चाहता यूं हो जाए। ओ मुझसे पहली सी मुहाबत मेरे महबूब न मांग, मुझसे पहली सी मुहाबत मेरे महबूब न मांग। अनगिनत सदियों के तारीक बही मानतलसम, रेशमो अतलसो कम ख्वाब में बुनवाए हुए, जाबा जा बिकते हुए सोचाओ बाजार में जिस्म खाक में लिथरे हुए खून में नहलाए हुए लौट जाती है उधर को भी नजर क्या कीजिए अभी दिलकश है तेरा हुस्न मगर क्या कीजिए अभी दिलकश है तेरा हुस्न मगर क्या कीजिए और भी दुख है जमाने में मोहब्बत के सिवा राहतें और भी है फसल की राहतों के सिवा मुझसे पहली सी मोहब्बत मेरे महबूब ना मांग मुझसे पहली सी मोहब्बत मेरे महबूब ना मांग Well, as long as you're on translations, we can do another Japanese poem by Tamura Ryuichi. Hiroshi Kimura is going to read the Japanese version, and Austin Fitzpatrick, I think, agreed to read the English version. Is Austin here? Austin Fitzpatrick is not here? Well, we will read the Japanese version first, and then perhaps Austin will show up in the meantime. Is Hiroshi here, or he's not here either?
He's coming around.
Oh, he's coming around. Okay. All right. We'll give you a few minutes.
I couldn't find Austin.
You couldn't find Austin. Okay, you can read that. I'll read it then. Sure.
4000の日と夜、一辺の死が生まれるためには我々は殺さなければならない。多くの者を殺さなければならない。多くの愛する者を射殺し、暗殺し、毒殺するのだ。見よ、4000の日と夜の空から1羽の小鳥の震える舌が欲しいばかりに、4000の夜の沈黙と4000の日の逆光線を我々は射殺した。聞け、雨の降るあらゆる都市、溶鉱炉、真夏の鳩場と炭鉱からたった一人の飢えた子供の涙がいるばかりに、4000の日の愛と4000の夜の悲しみを我々は射殺した。記憶せよ、我々の目に見えざるものを見、我々の耳に聞こえざるものを聞く。一匹の野良犬の恐怖が欲しいばかりに、4000の夜の想像力と4000の日の冷たい記憶を我々は射殺した。一辺の死が生むためには我々は愛しいものを殺さなければならない。これは死者をよみがえらせるただ一つの道であり、我々はその道を行かなければならない。
I wonder if Austin is here now? He's not. Okay, I'll fill in for him. I'll read it for you. Tamura Ryuichi actually probably was one of the most important post-war generation poets in Japanese. I had the privilege of knowing him. He was a very, very funny guy. And he told me the story actually once. Oh, good. I can tell the story of his life and then you'll hear the poem from Austin. Once he told me that he actually was marked to be a kamikaze pilot. And of course that meant sure death. But because he was such a big guy for a Japanese, especially of his generation, that he could not fit into these small Zero airplanes. And that's how he was saved for posterity and for us. And he wrote this poem approximately after 4,000 days and nights after the end of the Second World War. That explains it. Sorry for the delay.
This is 4,000 Days and Nights. To give birth to just one poem, we must kill many things. We must shoot, poison, assassinate, many, many things we love. Look, wanting only a bird's trembling tongue, in the sky of 4,000 days and nights, we shot the silence of 4,000 nights, the glaring bright light of 4,000 days. Listen, needing only the tears of a hungry infant, in all the rainy cities, blast furnaces, midsummer docks, sweaty mine shafts, we lynched the love of 4,000 days, lenity of 4,000 nights. Remember, wanting only the terror of a runaway dog, seeing things we cannot see, hearing things we cannot hear, we poisoned our indignant imagination of 4,000 nights, our bitter wintry memories of 4,000 days. To make us just a single poem, we must murder the things we love. To revive the dead, there is only one way. We must not take any other way.
Thank you. Is Kara Johnson here? Kara Johnson? Right there. Okay, please come.
Thank you. I call this Ode to Iraqi Oil. I turned on the TV and all I hear is war, war, war. And I can't help thinking that it's all about settling some old score. The unfinished business of trying to kill your dad, so your revenge is Iraqi oil. So obvious it's sad. Sad that we see the world divided between good and evil. We close our eyes to the hardworking, everyday people, the mothers and daughters, the fathers and sons, all muted by one trigger-happy regime ready to fire its guns. Our leaders who took office through illegitimate means, you tout truth and honesty, but take big business bribes behind the scenes. You plug your ears so you can't hear our voices, searching for a smoking gun scapegoat to eliminate our choices. Of peace and justice and a better way of life, of human compromise and eliminating overwhelming strife. Your two opposing faces show your biggest fallacy of poverty, hypocrisy, and discriminatory foreign policy. So while you are the wolf knocking on the pig's door, it's our brothers and sisters in Africa you ignore. In countries exploited, destroyed, and war-torn, where babies are dying from AIDS from the moment they are born. You say, we give them aid, of course, with a few restrictions. No patented drugs or condoms, only saintly benedictions. Yes, it's so much easier just to turn a blind eye. But what are we going to tell your grandchildren when they ask you why? A hegemonic nation holding all intentions that are good, manning covert operations behind a CIA black hood. You tout, just war will stop genocide. But when real duty arises, we're the first ones to hide. The U.S., defenders of human rights and democracy, you say. Just ignore our guests down there in Guantanamo Bay. Beaten and tortured, their hands tied behind their backs, giving helpful forced confessions of alleged terrorist attacks. Okay, all right, maybe Saddam has weapons of mass destruction. Did the Defense Department bill ever register that deduction? We gave Hussein weapons to oust the Shah in Iran. That time he must have been the president's favorite man. And suddenly he's evil, a terror to fear. El Señor Presidente, have you ever stopped to look in the mirror? The rest of the world is protesting you. Yes, Rumsfeld, Cheney, Wolfowitz, the whole crew. Wagging the dog while we sit here and wait for the money pumped into the wealthy elites to dissipate, taking this Enron train of broken dreams while our nation's economic health is busting at the seams. And our leaders don't have the cojones to admit the fault. They just sign on to fast track so we can increase the amount in our vault. Pickpocketed our neighbors to the south till their economies sank, lining the pockets of gold for the IMF and World Bank. I used to stand tall and sing, and I'm proud to be an American. Now I look around cautiously before I smile and say, yes, I'm Canadian. So tell me, am I just supposed to sit here like a good citizen without saying a word? All right, have it your way. I'll just take up my protest time while I give you the peace sign.
Thank you, Kara. Liao is going to read a famous Chinese poem by the Chinese poet Li Bai, The Lament of the Frontier Guard. I wonder if there is somebody who is going to read the English version. There is nobody who is, okay, then I will just fill in. My duty here, as you can tell, is to just to fill in. To start a scene or two. Okay. This is a very famous poem. Li Bai is one of those poets, who loved friendship and parties, and also, are you supposed to read the English version? No. Okay. All right. I don't want to leave anybody out, but he especially loved drinking, and he loved good company. This frontier guard is a very lonely guy because he's in the frontier with nothing to do and no human company to speak of, and not much to drink. So it's a sad poem, but it's also a deep poem that works at many different levels. So here it is. Lament of the Frontier Guard. By the north gate, the wind blows full of sand, lonely from the beginning of time until now. Trees fall, the grass grows yellow with autumn. I climb the towers and towers to watch out the barbarous land, desolate castle, the sky, the wide desert. There is no wall left to this village, bones white with 1,000 frosts, high heaps covered with trees and grass. Who brought this to pass? Who has brought the flaming imperial anger? Who has brought the army with drums and with kettle? Barbarous kings. A gracious spring turned to bloody, ravenous autumn. A turmoil of war spread over the Middle Kingdom. 360,000 men. And sorrow, sorrow like rain. Sorrow to go, and sorrow, sorrow returning, desolate, desolate fields. And no children of warfare upon them. No longer the men for offense and defense. Ah, how shall you know the dreary sorrow of the North Gate? With Limu's name forgotten, and we guardsmen fed to tigers.
李白，古风59首。胡关绕风沙，萧索尽钟鼓。木落秋草黄，登高望荣辱。荒城空大漠，边邑无遗堵。白骨横千霜，嵯峨必争莽。借问谁凌孽？天骄独威武。贺怒我圣皇，劳师试皮鼓。洋河变杀气，发卒烧中土。36万人，哀哀泪如雨。且悲旧行义，安得银龙府？不见真树儿，岂见关山苦？李牧今不在，边人似柴胡。
Thank you, Liao. We have a few more poems to read, but I know there are probably people here who might want to read something. I know at least one person. So let me invite her first, and if there is anybody else to follow, please come also, please. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dee Galloway, and I'm a student of poetry here at DU. I'm 45 years old and am now finally living the dream that I had 35 years ago to attend DU studying literature. One of the things that I absolutely hate about this is that I had to take natural science. And I was shocked and amazed that when I discovered that there was a poem coming out of my dislike of taking natural science. The name of this poem is The Science of Contemporary Issues. After his presentation on the probabilities and possibilities of biochemical warfare, nauseously enlightened, I had to go back and ask the man, what makes you think I'd want to survive that? What kind of world would that be? Too quickly, he answered, the same kind as it is right now. I don't think so. It's one thing to live with the fear that your lover might hit you. Quite another to live with the knowledge that he already has. And since I'm here and I have the power, I have one more. A day in the life. Why does the movement of a single soul seem to count for so much less than the movement of a nation? Each nation is a gathering of solitary souls, each soul heading onward. Every morning, that solitary soul swings its legs to the edge of the bed, choosing to stand